Hey guys, it's Maddie here from DCLblogger.com. Just wanted to say a few words about the creator contest outcome. So Decentraland and their partners have chosen the winners. There is going to be about 50 winners at the very least in terms of those that are winning land and mana as prizes, phones, etc., etc. But these ones that were chosen were the top 5 or top 10. Just Although there's 17 here, you have to remember that a couple were sponsored by HTC. There was some sponsored by CoinGecko. More prizes were given from Bittrex. It was kind of like a big mashup cluster of a kind of massive giveaway contest type thing. So here's a bit of a preview of some of the builds that won. You can see the creativity and the detail. I think the level of detail is the thing that strikes out initially. This was first prize, I believe, this floating island one. I believe that could have been second prize, but if you take a look, floating world, you can take a look. There's a bit of a preview. I don't think you can do much with this preview. It would have been cool to explore, but that capability is not available at the moment. But just look at the level of detail in this, and it was a bit more clearer. It's definitely more clear when it comes to the preview, right? Look, check this out. It's a massive dragon, Chinese dragon, an aeroplane, etc., etc. So my best design, I actually thought I had a chance of winning, the top 3. I think the top prize was about 200,000 mana and then 100,000 mana. 200,000 mana would have been about 12,000, between 11 and 12,000 USD at the current mana exchange rate. So it's definitely not a small prize. It's something to work pretty hard over. And it's worth the level of detail and giving it a good shot if you have the ability to do so. Also wanted to point out that, first let's go through some of the builds. We have Summon Colossus, kind of looks like a bunny rabbit. Kind of swinging his massive, what do you call this thing? Mace around. There's pigs watching, so I guess he's destroying Pig's house. Summoning the Great Dragon, that's really, really cool. Quite colorful too. Biplane, 4th place, 5th place, Sky Festival. It's pretty cool. The creativity is, I think, one of the things that the judges were looking for. Bittrex winners, Greenhouse, Legend of Zion. It's pretty cool. That's a hand, I believe. A tornado. This was really, really cool. I remember seeing this in the chat. Very, very creative, and it's just a level of detail. It's a small thing. You can see this guy has used ropes. If you look closely, let's take a look at the preview. He's used ropes to give the tornado that sense of action, like it's moving round and round. And he's kind of got the trees up in the air, and some of these trees are bent. It's just the level of detail, and each one of these shrooms, these mushrooms or flowers, whatever these are, he kind of planted it up into a valley. If you look at the actual one shared in Discord, you can see the level of detail gone into that. This one won the HTC prize, Temple of Zion or Zion. Gecko is playing Quidditch. Again, it's got to do with detail and creativity. Like, what's the story behind your build? Okay, so these were, I think, 17 that were chosen. So some were chosen by CoinGecko. They had their own giveaway. HTC had their own giveaway. Bittrex had their own giveaway, and of course Decentraland had their own giveaway. So I believe there's another like 40 plus lands that are going to win prizes, and they are yet to be announced, but these are the top. And pretty cool to see how much these evolved when people first started building. I remember people first started building, there was just like people mashing together a couple of different things, figuring out how to use tiles, etc. People realized that you could turn some tiles upside down to give it that water effect. You can use these as building blocks. You can use rocks as building blocks. You can make things float and have action looking type things. But it took some time for people to evolve their designs based on what other people were designing. And that was really cool to see, because I really feel the VR experience, like the virtual world that we are going to build in Decentraland, if it is going to be this easy to build, drag and drop builder is going to be a big part of what we are going to see in Decentraland. But I feel like people are going to really be inspired by the things that they see and strive to incorporate or build better. And if that pattern continues to happen, then you're going to see people continually evolve their designs. So now we're looking at this, in a year or two, we may be looking at some really amazing, absolutely, like you can't even think of what people might build, right? Anyway, so a lot of these parcels or kind of the size of these builds were built on 20 plus parcels, or at least most of them. This was 20, 25, 8. This is probably the smallest one. 16, 9. So that wasn't that much, but it's just, I think it came to the level of detail. It's upon first glance what kind of struck out to the people that were judging these parcels. So this one was 20, 16, 32, 32. So obviously the more parcels you used, the more exquisite detail you can put in, because you'd get a higher poly limit, right? So sometimes you had no choice but to go with a higher parcel count to put as much detail in there as you could. That's why I think we're not seeing many, if any, very small parcels. Like if you were to just build it between 1 to 4, you won't really have that much detail in it. So you may have spent maybe a day on it, but these people have spent probably the whole week or two on it. So at the end of the day, it came down to who and what was most impressive in terms of the build, the level of skill, and just on first glance, like what was going on. Of course, I can't speak from the judges' perspective, but it just makes sense to me. You know, a lot of these people were judges that have, you know, looked and built off creativity before. So it's just at the end of the day, like if you were to see all these designs at first glance, what would strike out to you first? You know, at the end of the day, that's what it kind of comes down to. All right, and also a few things I wanted to touch upon too was, so some of these parcel sizes, as you saw, were about 20 to 30, right? They were the bigger ones. But if you look at Decentraland, where do we have estate sizes that can accommodate these levels of builds? You have a few over here. This one is, what size is this? 28 pieces of land. So you need to find estates about this big to have that kind of level of detail within them that you just saw. Not everyone, the single parcels are going to be quite small compared to what we just saw. Some of the ones that I have, like I've got one here, 22 parcels, one here, 20 parcels connected to Genesis Plaza. To get like a 20 parcel estate, you'd probably have to dish out about probably at least 300,000 mana, which would be about 15,000 US dollars to build something of what we just saw, this competition winners. This one is probably my biggest one at 45 pieces. It's also my most expensive one just because it's connected to a couple of big districts, also a double road. So there's a lot, and it's in the midst of 2 Genesis plazas and a cluster of different districts going on. So there's a lot, there's a reason why this one is more expensive than what we normally see. It's about 35,000 mana a piece, which isn't too bad, to be honest, but it does require a bigger investor to come through and build. But yeah, just to give you an idea, like what kind of size estates, or at least how many different builds we are going to be seeing of that caliber. You can see there's a cluster of really big lands over here. This one's 300 pieces, so that can accommodate about 10 to 12 different massive builds as big as what we saw in the contest on this piece of land. Hopefully we can find a way to collaborate with our neighbors and build, kind of increase the value as such. I think this one is a really big land too. 400 pieces over here. The contest winners, Decentraland will be giving away land for the people that won the contest. In the top 50 winners will be getting that land. And I think, if I recall, if my memory serves me right, then I think somewhere over here, Decentraland purchased about 1,000 pieces of land, or at least around that much, to give away during the contest. So getting a small portion of the land in this area, I think, is more valuable than the other lands that we see, just purely because you're going to be situated next to, or at least close to, other builders or other people that have the ability to make really good content. And looking at Decentraland's Twitter, you can see the creator contest winners are marking the end of the first scene building competition. The first scene building competition, it makes a lot of sense to me that Decentraland are going to continue to have competitions to promote buildings. Like, this is the first competition we've ever had, right? And honestly, like, the level of detail and builds that we saw were pretty damn cool. Now you can imagine once Decentraland allows the capability of us to move objects, kind of scene development, we can have like a bit of AI happening, maybe more models that we can use. There's definitely going to be more competitions, in my opinion, and the level of stuff that we're going to see then, we might even see different games come out. Like you can imagine this world is over here. You can imagine if there was a character you could choose and run through the thing and, maybe fight some monsters and stuff like that kind of scene development where you're making mini games. It's going to take Decentraland to a whole new level. And I really feel Decentraland is going to move in that direction as in the coming, years. Hopefully months, but realistically speaking, I think this year is going to be a bunch of different competitions, and maybe we're going to see a lot of really awesome builds happen at the end of this year once all the structure is set in place with Decentraland. Of course, that's just complete speculation on my behalf, but it just makes sense to me. Thanks to our partners for helping co-sponsor this event, HTC, Bittrex, CoinGecko. These are not small partners, guys. I know HTC have been making big moves. The outcome is fantastic. We are quite amazed by the creativity of the community. Really cool to see HTC be so connected to the blockchain world, the crypto industry, and definitely understand and see how much development is happening in blockchain, especially through Decentraland. Through VR, you can see what's going on. They get, hopefully there'll be more collabs, there'll be more partnerships. HTC will include us with whatever products they come out with, and there might be more collaborations. And I know Decentraland are definitely collaborating with high level partners. I know they had a Binance competition, they've obviously had a Bittrex, a HTC, CoinGecko, and a lot of really big coins like MakerDAO. And I know a lot of other big projects partnered with them during the last auction. Like, they have the ability and the team that can make partnerships with large scale investors. So there's that too. And the last tweet we saw in this area, that's pretty much all I wanted to go through. So it was just good to see that the what kind of designs came out, the momentum behind it all. And we are yet to see 45 more designs. Hopefully we will be able to explore them, and maybe they'll be up for viewing in one of the Genesis Plazas or something. But really cool to see this kind of momentum, this level of creativity. I'm very excited to see what comes out from this. So anyway, guys, good luck for the next 45 lands. Hopefully you win something. Don't be bummed out if you haven't. There'll be plenty of opportunity. And at the end of the day, we are contributing to a new world. So it'll be very exciting to see how and what kind of shape this thing takes in the future. All right, guys, take care now. Enjoy the Easter weekend. I'll speak to you guys soon.